Champions don't just come overnight. Champions have to grow. Champions have to work. Champions have to dig. Champions have to believe. Champions don't have time to wait around for something to happen on its own.
And now to that breaking news on cuts at the Department of Education. Nearly half of the agency's workforce is being laid off.
Well, my mother and father were my greatest influence growing up, and we had 6 kids, and my mother was the primary disciplinarian, but when things went off the rails, you were going to hear about it, and you were going to be held accountable. I quickly learned that crime was not something that was in my future because I never got away with anything. I also had a twin brother who was my alter ego, and he and I sort of helped keep each other in check. And I think the Catholic education I had Christian brothers in high school and Benedictine nuns in grade school, and they were very, very keen on discipline, and I obviously learned a lot from them. So those, I would say, are the primary influences that really taught me the difference between right and wrong.
I would say my parents, of course, were my first teachers, and they were amazing, and art continued to be amazing role models for me. I had a teacher growing up who was not one of my school teachers, but she was an art teacher, and she really shaped a lot of what I think about today. She called it creative thinking class because it wasn't just about art, it was about life, and it was about choices you make, and that you can make different choices, but sometimes there are consequences for those choices. And so I feel like she was very much an influence in my life and continues to be. I got into Stanford, and that opened every door I've ever walked through. I'm super grateful that that's where I got to go to school, and it was amazing.
I was one of the first people in the office every day and one of the last to leave. I think I had a great work ethic. I didn't have a great education in terms of finance, so I knew I had to make up for that. So I went and got a master's degree at George Washington University in an MBA at night while I was still working hard during the day. I try and do the right thing. The whole idea of integrity was something that I lived my life by, and I always want to be a great role model for our family. So I always chose the right path over the easy path.
You know, I really thought about, if I'm going to become a teacher, I want to be that teacher for kids. And I want to go places where I know that I can serve in a way that is with the community and by the community and really bring everybody along, because I feel like when everybody is on the same page, then kids really benefit from that. My own teaching career started in a failing school, and I should have known by the concertina wire that was around the fence that this was not going to be an amazing, magical place for kids. But it drove everything that I have done since.
I was focused on being successful, and I really didn't have much choice because we had 4 kids, and you know, I had to grow up in a hurry, and so I guess that's the secret. I mean, I tried to act with integrity. I tried to treat people the way I'd want to be treated, which is one of my cornerstones of my whole life. I've given my kids, you know, tremendous opportunities as far as education is concerned. They've all gone to very good schools.
Equipping people with all of the knowledge that they're going to need, not just right now, but in the future. And I think it's less about discrete knowledge than it is about ways of thinking and being curious and asking questions and really being curious about what else could be, how could we shape this, how could we form this into something that's new and different, that it's not just about a single child at the school, but it's about building a community of learners who are curious about the world and who really are taking advantage of all the opportunities that they have here. It was working at a software company in San Francisco, right at the start of the tech boom in San Francisco. And I met a man named Ron Brady. And that's really where my connection to Foundation Academies started, because we were both educators and both interested in education. We had a lot to talk about. Years later, when I moved to New York, we reconnected and he said, hey, I'm going to start this school and I need your help. So I wrote a lot of the initial curriculum for the middle school. It has been a pleasure to watch Foundation Academies grow. That growth shows that the community believes that this is a school that is different. They're doing things differently and people are electing to come here. We all have our own noble purpose, and I think finding what that purpose is really helps people know who they are and how they show up in the world. And I think when you know what your purpose is and you've cleared your own path to get there, and of course get a lot of help along the way, I think that a purpose-driven life gives your life meaning. It's not just about you, but it's what you get back from community members.